Hi, folks. This is the recap for the legislative week. We're going to start with, what do we start with?
The CBDC Anti-Surveillance Act.
The CBDC Anti-Surveillance Act. So the Central Bank Digital Currency, CBDC, what Congress says affirmatively is that we are not going to accept or allow the federal government to impose, to create a central bank digital currency. And the reason for that is that essentially it would replace cash, and it would allow the federal government to monitor every single thing you do. Just think about it. Right now, the banks are required by the federal government to monitor any transactions over $600, but this would allow the federal government to monitor every single transaction. So unfortunately, in other countries, let's say Hong Kong, let's say China in general, they watch every single person's movement. They attach that to a credit system, a social credit system. And if you don't behave as the government decides that you should behave, then they limit your ability to spend your own money. So we don't want any of that in the United States of America. And so that's what this bill did.
You had 3 different committee hearings this week. Can you tell us about the one with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken?
So we had multiple committee hearings. The one with the Secretary of State, I asked him very particularly, what is the difference between 2 American allies that have been attacked? Ukraine's been attacked by Russia, and Israel's been attacked by Hamas and Iran's proxies generally. In Ukraine, we send them billions of dollars without any restrictions. They don't have to go get the hostages. They don't have to have a plan. They don't have to limit civilian casualties. Yet with Israel, we're withholding the aid that Congress actually passed and requiring Israel to give us a plan on governance in Gaza, to give us their plan on how they're getting their hostages back. Meanwhile, Russia has thousands of Ukrainian hostages. And then also we're limiting the use. Well, first of all, we're not sending the weapons, and we're limiting the use of their weapons. And I asked for the difference. And of course, the secretary unfortunately could provide no difference, which makes the point that the restrictions on Israel are absolutely, completely political. And while the secretary wishes to have you believe that this administration and President Biden are the most pro-Israel advocates ever to hold office in the United States of America, their actions completely belie it. And finally, we're actually providing your tax dollars in the same bill that provided aid to Israel or providing aid to Hamas, the people that attacked Israel, which is why I voted no on that bill. All for supporting Israel, but I'm not for using your tax dollars to A, be on both sides of the war, and B, using your tax dollars to support terrorism.
This week you introduced the Student Loan Reform Act. Can you tell us why that was so important?
So the Student Loan Reform Act, actually just as it is, by happenstance, at the same time the president is using your money to forgive the loans of people that took out loans for their education. We introduced a bill to provide some relief for people that want to go to college but have a hard time affording it because it's expensive. And essentially what it does is it gives colleges skin in the game. So you get a reduced rate on your interest if they co-sign the loan. And if they co-sign the loan, the theory is that they will then provide vocations and education that will actually allow you to repay the loan once you receive your education. It's a way to reduce the cost and answer the question of the cost of the higher cost of higher education. And so that was, I think that's essentially, there are other things that happened this week. You can see them online, repscottperry.com, all the different videos, what have you, but those were the essential big portions of the week legislatively.
Do you have any thoughts going into this Memorial Day weekend?
I do have thoughts going into this Memorial Day weekend. Folks, I hope you will just take a moment on Memorial Day, especially to think about, to ponder the enormous sacrifice that it takes to maintain freedom, to gain freedom and to maintain freedom. The United States has lost over 1 million souls fighting for and defending the freedoms that we have, and those that made the ultimate sacrifice. So I just hope that you will take a moment to pray for them, think about them, and think about all that we have in our free country because of those people that were willing to give up their lives for it. And so with that, That's the recap for the week. I hope you have a safe week. God bless you.